Now I've gotten the bone structure for my essay and I'm ready to organize the content. Y'all, I'm not even going to lie to you. This part takes some time. That's why I'm showing you a picture of happy people. These people are happy after they complete the outline. Sometimes the outline process is challenging, but it's so important because I'll tell you why. If I take time to create a detailed outline, the writing of the essay is a cinch. And if I don't do an outline and I think I've just got all my facts together, I've got everything set, I'm just going to write this silly essay, then I come out with a mess. Now I've got to do edits to try to make the mess make sense. I've got long paragraphs where there shouldn't be long paragraphs. I've got all kinds of problems to deal with. If I take the time here and do the outline, I always come out with an excellent product that takes a small amount of editing, and then I'm ready to submit the essay. So taking time on this short end pays off in the long end. And again, I'm not going to lie to you. I love outlining, but I'm just about probably the only person you know who does. But we're going to go through this process together, and this is exactly what I want you to do. I've given you a template to go by, and you are going to adjust this template for your needs and for your particular event. But this is a general organization where I am going to create an outline for this dinner party that organizes the essay according to the course of the dinner. Cocktails, soup and salad, main course, entree, that sort of thing. So I'm going to do exactly as it says, but before I do that, I want you to see at the bottom of this page is a really great tutorial. This girl explains using Microsoft Word to outline essays much better than I could. So follow this. Take a minute. I know, but take a minute and do that. After that, just go back up here and do what the instructions say. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it on a Word document. I'll be right back. I've placed this in a Word document. It may be that I can get this created without having to reset all the margins and everything, but let's try it. All right, so I'm going to go in through and I'm going to take this out and I'm going to put in my own statement. Okay, so let's start with the introduction. And I have my EasyBib page open because I know that I'm going to be adding some information to this along the way. And it's going to add to my bibliography, and it's going to add more information that I have cited in my essay, which is always a good thing. So this is my title, Saving Corofin Castle, and this is the image. I know I'm going to make this much nicer at the end, but this is the outline phase. So I just want to make sure that when I look through my outline, I make sure that I know where we are. I have an image that sets the location so we know where we are. And I fill in those blanks. I fell in love with Irish castles years ago when I found Corofin Castle and saw that it was being restored by Paul Roberts to create a safe haven for glioblastoma patients and their family. I knew I wanted to help. I wanted to create an event that would introduce key supporters to the project, seek funding to help Paul's efforts, and create awareness to Galway County, Ireland. Okay? That's my goal. Remember that question was, why am I doing this? What's in this for me? And I'm doing this in a very short statements. This is what I want to do, right? Introduce key supporters to the project, number 1. Seek funding, number 2. And 3, create awareness. I decided to host an Irish county fair, complete with jousting contests, food, fun, music, and laughter, are the backdrop for my fundraising efforts. All right, now that's filled in. Now we have the big thesis statement, and that's important because the thesis statement is very simple, and it tells the reader exactly what each of the sections of the essay will be. The Paul Roberts project to restore Corofin Castle as a palace of safe haven for patients needs support, and I am passionate about a fundraising project that will raise awareness to the Irish community, raise money to support the project, and educate guests about the need for a safe haven for affected families. Okay, so that's done. And know that, again, I've shown the reader exactly what I'm going to be talking about in my essay. I'm going to have to tell them a little bit about what this disease is, and I'm going to have to talk about their need for a safe haven, because that's part of my thesis statement. I'm going to have to talk about how much it's going to cost to restore the castle and how much help we need. You can't just have a fundraiser and say, write me a check, and not have a goal in mind. I've invited the Irish legendary band U2 to perform at the festival, historically relevant Spanish architect Jose Manuel Lopez Osorio, architecture philosopher Saul Fisher, and joining us in resurrected glory, 17th century Irish poet and restoration advocate William Butler Yeats. Guests from neighboring villages. Now, the one was how the doorbell rings or something happens. Well, we don't have a doorbell. We're doing a county fair. So how am I going to have the whole thing start? Guests from neighboring villages, dignitaries, military leaders, philanthropists, and my esteemed panel of experts arrive in horse-drawn buggies. I think that sounds like fun. Oh, what a sight to behold. The sound of an enormous horn echoes through the meadowland as our announcer in full Irish costume plays the Dord. Now, the Dord is not something that everybody knows about, and that's why I included this picture of the starting of the festival, because we already know where we are, because I've shown that in the title image. I'm going to show plenty of other images later on as we go along, but this I decided to put in there. Now I'm going to start. I can't believe the day has finally arrived, and I'm excited beyond words, but I look fabulous. I'm wearing a traditional Irish party dress with ribbons. Yes, that could be me, and yes, I am that skinny. No, I'm not. But anyway, I can be anybody I want to be in this essay. So that shows me. I think it's important that as the host of the party, somewhere in that introduction, there be a picture of me or what I would like to look like, the character that I'm presenting, for the reader. Okay? And now, we just need a transition statement, and I'm going to add that to the cocktail. So let me add a transition statement, and then we'll move on to the next item. So here's my transition sentence. I greet the guests and invite them to enjoy a glass of Beamish, a jigger of Tullamore Dew, ice-cold Orchard Thieves cider, or non-alcoholic shamrock slush from the cart brought in by my volunteers. Let the festivities begin. Now, where did I learn about all this stuff? Y'all, I don't even drink, so where did I find all this stuff? Well, let's take a minute. Let's save this so we don't lose it. And now let's go and cite all of those fun little things that I just found. So I'm going to show you my screen where I've just been doing my research as I wrote this. Okay, so these are the pages that I just opened to create that introduction. And all I have to do is open those pages and add them to my EasyBib project. And remember, my EasyBib project is easy because when I logged into EasyBib, I went to my projects and I opened Dinner Party. That means that I can add more citations to my project. So let me do those and then I'll show them to you. This is where I got that shamrock slush to add. I found that by going to Google, so I'm just going to go to that website. There's a website where that came from. Copy this. So I went through that process of creating the citation, and there it is. Now I'm going to do that for the rest of the items that I selected. I'll show them to you. All those alcoholic beverages came from this site, so I'm just going to copy that, go over to EasyBib, go back up here, create a new citation, and I'm going to cite it. And it's going to add that one to my list. So that one's done. This is where I found the image of the girl in the outfit that I would wear. She's practically the spitting image of me. And I'm going to copy this and go back to EasyBib and cite it. And it's like the problem with all those images. It couldn't find it. So I just put the article title and what I'm using it for so that the reader can find where that image came from. I pasted the URL in here, and I'm just going to create the citation. That's what I have to do with those images. This is the guy with the door, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. It's probably going to come up the same problem, but I'll just fill in those blanks just like I did offer up the URL to the reader so they can see where the image came from. And you know what, since I know that citing that image is going to be a problem, I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to select Write and Paste a Citation. Just make it easy on myself. I'm glad it did this so I can show you. When I tried to create my own citation with that image, this is what showed up. There is no reason to put something this long into a website. We're going to have to find an easier way to do this. So we are going to delete this because there's no way we're going to add this long thing. So let's find a better way to do it. Here's the page where I found the guy, and I just typed in Irish horn because I wanted something to introduce the party. So here he is. I'm going to click on it. That shows me this. I'm going to visit that page. Okay, so that's what that horn sounds like. And I'm going to copy that page and go over here to EasyBib, and let's try to cite it that way. I'm still citing that source, so let's just see if we come up with something like this. But I'm glad that that happened because I want you to see that there's no way you're going to include something long and detailed like that. There's another way to do it. Okay, we got it, and we got it, we'll complete it. Now let's see what it looks like. There it is. See? All right. I'm glad that happened so you could see that example. Next, I was trying to look up the spelling for that disease, and I went ahead and looked it up because I know I'm going to need it to explain what this disease is. So I'm going to go ahead and just cite the thing so that when I'm writing my essay, I can come back and find it in EasyBib, and that way I won't have to go through this process of trying to figure out what is this disease. I'm going to do the Mayo Clinic because it's an absolute definitive source. I may do both of these. This is the one from the Mayo Clinic. Copy it. I'm going to go ahead and add it to my EasyBib because I've already done this work. I don't want to have to come back and look at it again. This makes it really easy because when I get to that point of the essay, I can come back here and I can find the article super easy and just be able to go to it whenever I need it rather than having to spend all my time researching it again. All right. Now I can come back anytime I want. This is the formal website for that, so I'm going to go ahead and cite it and move on. Okay, so the introduction is done. Everything that I used to research for the introduction is done and added. I can come back here later on and I can use this information whenever I want to tell my guests a little bit about what we're doing. So we're all set. And I'm going to conclude this tutorial on the introduction, and I'll come back in the next session and we'll look at the cocktails and whatever these drinks are that we have these people drinking. All right, and we'll fill in these blanks. But this looks really nice for an introduction, doesn't it? I've included the content for the introduction, a couple of nice little images. I have my title image. So I'm off to a great start. This is awesome. All right, that concludes this tutorial.